It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from North Brewing Company, and you can probably tell by the headline of the thumbnail that things have changed at North Brewing Company recently. They had a little bit of a problem. They had to be kind of bought out by a company called Kirkstall, a brewery called Kirkstall Brewery. It wasn't ideal, it definitely wasn't ideal, but at the same time, it was probably the best option that North Brewing Company had. They had a little bit of a kind of like, what do they call it? A cash crunch. Little kind of money problems at the beginning of each year that lots of companies have. January and February are terrible months in most industries. People haven't got a lot of money this time of year, and they just found that they had a little bit of a problem, so they had to be kind of bought out by Kirkstall. If any brewery was to be bought out by or to be bought out, needed to be bought out, then Kirkstall is a good bet. Whenever I've drunk a Kirkstall beer in the supermarket, they've always been absolutely fantastic. So I've got every hope going forward that North Brewing Company are going to be absolutely fine. This beer is probably the last beer that's going to hit the supermarket or be produced by North Brewing Company as North Brewing Company. The beers going forward, they'll be called North, but they'll have a big influence from Kirkstall Brewery. This beer is called Another World. It's available in Tesco. It's 6% ABV, and it's in a 440 milliliter can. UK brewed and canned by North Brewing Company, Springwell, Buslingthorpe Lane in Leeds. Let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. The beer cost me £3.50. Cash flow, that's what they call it, cash flow. I've spoken to bar owners and brewers, and it's just January and February, they're just difficult months. I worked in construction. And construction, January and February, I used to work for the agencies. They were terrible months. I never had no work. I had to earn enough money throughout the summer months to be able to get through January and February, maybe a little bit of March. Terrible starts to the year. You think you're doing great. You think you're doing marvellous. Oh, brilliant, you know, earning all this money on the construction sites throughout the summer. And then bingo, bango, Christmas comes, Christmas is over, and you're waiting months for work. Same as the brewing industry. All the credit card bills hit on people's doorsteps. They're all wondering how they're going to pay it. They got no money for beer. It's just how it is, unfortunately. One finger, white head, good levels of carbonation, hazy, straw-coloured beer. It looks good. It looks really good. Let's get the aroma on this beer then. Whoa, yeah, smells good. It smells really good. I've always had confidence. There was a little blip, but I've always had confidence that North Brewing Company can produce really good supermarket beer. If I was going to pay my hard-earned cash on a few beers in a supermarket, I generally have confidence that North Brewing Company with the brewery, that we're going to be able to deliver, you know, the value for money's there. Tropical, lovely, hoppy, a little bit of grapefruit, a little bit of orange peel, a little bit of tangerine, a little bit of spicy pepperiness. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. A little bit of sweetness on this one. A little bit of a creamy, rich mouthfeel. It's interesting. Soft and fluffy, hoppy, tropical, grapefruit, pineapple, a little bit of tinned pineapple coming through. Orange peel, kind of tangerine flavours. Sweet, it's quite sweet to begin with. There's an element of a creamy kind of sweet beginning to the beer, and then there's a little bit of kind of bitterness on the back end with some kind of spiciness and pepperiness. So it's kind of like not completely balanced, it's more balanced towards sweetness, if you like. And as a lot of you know, I'm not a massive fan of sweet beers. The older I've got drinking beer, the more I'm leaning towards dry, crisp, spicy, peppery lagers and Weiss beers. It's a little bit sweet for me, this one, if I'm perfectly honest. Carbonation pushes the beer on the inside of the mouth, releases more of that flavour. I think we live in a world these days, we live in a world where there's a lot more people that eat and drink sweet things than they do eat bitter things. So for the breweries, it must be like a safe bet. It must be like a safe bet for them to say, hey, you know what? We're going to make this beer slightly sweeter. If we make it slightly sweeter, we're going to get more people to buy it. And it's unfortunate, but that's what I think we are at the moment. This recent release from Tesco and Sainsbury's and Morrison's, the January, early February 2024 beers that have launched into these supermarkets, they've not been great. They really haven't been great. There's definitely been a step down in quality. I've not stood here yet after spending £3.50, £4 on a can of craft beer from either Sainsbury's or Tesco's or Morrison's, and I've stood back here and I've gone, stone the crows, this is fantastic beer. It's a real shame. It's a real shame. I can't help but think the supermarkets are influencing their power now on these breweries. You know, it's almost as if you want to carry on working with us, then you're going to have to kind of do these things. Maybe the margins are tightening. I don't know. But I had a box from Northern Monk, wrong brewery. I had a Christmas calendar from North Brewing Company, and the beers were great. The beers were fantastic. They were all from their own kind of staple range of beers, and I just can't help but think that Tesco have kind of got their mitts on this a little bit, and it's not bad by any means. It's not the worst beer I've ever drunk. It's just a little bit too sweet for me. It's a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 from Reload Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.